All right, live on Rumble, live on YouTube. Good morning, hello, and welcome to This Date in History, aka TDH. I am A.O. Xander. I will be joined by the Golden Moon here relatively soonly. And of course, you. This show is about the interesting, important events that happened, to date on this calendar date throughout the annals of recorded history, starting with March 30th. It is March 30th, 2025. So we have in the year 240 BC the first recorded perihelion passage of Halley's Comet. And for those who do not know what perihelion is, that is, I believe, the closest it is to the sun, as opposed to the anti-perihelion, I guess. I don't know what the opposite of perihelion is, but we've covered it before. But yeah, this is the first time on record that we humans have seen that. Moving on up into 804, Ludger becomes the first bishop of Munster in the Holy Roman Empire. The cheese or the TV show, Munster. Because, the Munsters and all that stuff. Anyway, 988, Baudouin IV with the beard becomes Earl of Flanders. I wonder if there's a Baudouin IV without a beard, or with a goatee, with a mustache, with a weird haircut. 1796, Carl Friedrich Gauss, German mathematician, discovered the construction of the heptadecagon, which is a lot of sides. I looked it up for a second here to find the image and whatnot. But yeah, we're getting joined right now by
Golden Moon.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
I want to go back here because I made a joke. 804, Ludger became the first bishop of Munster in the Holy Roman Empire. So what, the cheese or the TV show? Huh. I had to go back there. Sorry, audience. 1814, Joachim Murat issued the Rimini Declaration, which would later inspire Italian unification. All right. Yeah, no, we've covered this several times before. You probably remember it from not too long ago, but Italy has unified twice now. Once under the actions of Giuseppe Garibaldi, and then before that, there's Rome, the Roman Empire.
Yeah, true.
So, 1822, Congress combined East and West Florida into the Florida Territory. Huh. I didn't think there was enough Florida to have in East and West.
Should have been the Florida swamp.
Yeah. 1842, ether was used as an anesthetic for the first time by Dr. Crawford Long in Georgia.
Ether Sunday.
Long ether. 1856, the Russian Empire, the Ottoman Empire, Great Britain, France, and the Kingdom of Sardinia signed the Treaty of Paris, ending the Crimean War. Yeah, no, not to make light of current events and whatnot, but someone, not too long ago told me that, I need to be upset about the actions happening in Europe right now, and I just told him the Crimea River.
Oh.
1858, pencil with attached eraser patented by Heman L. Lipman of Philadelphia.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah.
That saved my ass a couple times, that eraser.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Thank God I didn't write in pen.
Yeah. 1858, we got that one. 1867, Texas became the last Confederate state readmitted to the Union.
The last one? I didn't realize that.
Yep. And actually, I skipped...
Probably did it begrudgingly, too.
Yeah, well, Texans, they consider themselves Texans first and United States citizens second, which is all well and good, but if you're part of the Union, it's all or nothing,
Oh, yeah.
You either be part of us, or if you have that kind of attitude, get out of here, You're part of us or whatever. But 1867 here, yeah, I did 1870, but right before that, 1867, the United States bought Alaska from Russia for $7,200,000, or $109 million in 2018 dollars, roughly 2 cents an acre.
Yeah, that was a big mistake for Russia. They're still pissed about that.
Yeah, well, didn't they try to do something some kind of technicality to get that back?
Yeah, they said they still own it or something. That's real recent.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm bringing that up.
Yeah,
they're like, oh, we want that oil, so can we negate the deal or whatever?
Yeah.
No, you sold it, it's ours. Too bad,
Yeah. Well, you pretty much have to fight us for it,
Yeah, good luck. 1870 as well, though, the 15th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was adopted, guaranteeing the right to vote regardless of race. But does that not contradict the statement, all men are created equal?
Yeah, but they were obviously the southern states weren't going along with that, and blacks didn't get to vote, so they passed that to really confirm that no, they have to vote. They didn't call blacks, but they call all races.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter if you're a male or female, white, black, yellow, purple, turquoise, or periwinkle. Yeah. You're all human. So all man, all humanity, all mankind, are created equal. So like I think this 15th Amendment is a redundancy.
No,
it is.
No, ask the slaves that came here how redundant it was.
That's not the point. Like, all men are created equal. It already says that right there.
Yeah. But they needed something to reinforce it with teeth.
Redundancy.
Well, the power of the law is what they needed. Because there was no law saying that, Well, no, we don't need the power of the law. We need basic understanding of what words mean. All men are created equal. That's pretty blanket statement right there. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, they're equal, but
maybe
they still don't get to vote.
Maybe this is a good topic for I'm okay, you're okay.
Yeah.
Well, 1893, Thomas F. Bayard became the first U.S. ambassador in Great Britain. All right. Took about 100 years.
Yeah.
1895, British inventor Bert Akers filmed the Oxford and Cambridge boat race. And I actually wonder, if there's any of this footage on YouTube itself. Let me see here. Okay, 1897, practicing for the Oxford and Cambridge University boat race. So here it is right here. Is there actual footage? No, there's not. So there's a picture. That's the Derby. That's not a boat race.
Yeah.
This is something else. Well, if anybody can find if this footage even exists, let us know in the comments section. Speaking of comments and whatnot, we already have a comment from who was it? RMG relaunch. Yes, it was. So he's like, "Hello, hey, how you doing, man?" So yeah. What else do we got here? 1909, New York's Queensboro Bridge opened, linking Manhattan and Queens. Oh. All right. And you were watching a movie last night about Queens.
Yeah.
Where does a king find a wife? Oh, in Queens.
Let's go to Queens.
Yeah. You want to go to Queens? What the hell's wrong with you? Crazy people.
And that's the cabbie.
Yeah. Dude, I love that scene. They came out with all those luxurious suitcases.
Oh, yeah.
And all the people just stole everything.
Yeah, they're wearing all their stuff.
Yeah. 1935, Newfoundland changes time to 3.5 hours west of Greenwich, repeats 44 seconds. Man, talk about time traveling. Repeating the same 44 seconds you already did. That's kind of weird.
I don't quite understand that. Read that again.
So, Newfoundland changes time to 3.5 hours west of Greenwich. So they changed their time zone. Yeah. And then, for whatever reason, it made them repeat 44 seconds. So, it's time travel. 1942, first RSA transport from France arrived in Camp Birkenau. That's the Holocaust right there. So, the transport of Jews from France, because Birkenau was a concentration camp.
Yeah.
1944, 781 British bombers attacked Nuremberg. That is a lot of aircraft. People.
Yeah.
They see it's wild. They flew these things routinely. Hundreds and hundreds of aircraft and everything, and despite all of that, we dropped more ordnance, during the Vietnam War than the entirety of World War II. Not just what we dropped, not just what our side dropped. The entirety, both sides of World War II pales in comparison to what we dropped in Vietnam, and we still lost. And that was because of the power of the people. And
well, you can't win a war in the air only. It just can't be done.
Well,
you can destroy a lot of stuff, but you can't win the war.
True.
It's air only.
True. And it's even more of a handicap because didn't they tell us not to bomb this area and that area? The politics came into war.
Well, then you get into politics and it really gets complicated.
Yeah.
Which I never understood. How can politics get in there when you're killing people?
I mean, war itself is a political thing.
Can you make rules? What the hell?
Yeah. Whereas I agree with the concept of war crimes, it's war. All is fair in love and war.
Yeah. But there are war crimes that will come up afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not being humane.
Yeah. And the amount of war crimes the U.S. has done, we're never going to be held accountable because we're the ones who won. So that's some BS right there. Moving on up to 1946, last Test cricket appearance of Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly.
What?
I know, right?
Cricket and Bill O'Reilly?
In 1946?
What?
Has to be a different Bill O'Reilly.
Well, he was born, but he wouldn't have been appearance. He was probably born that year or
now that makes
after.
me wonder if he was a spin bowler, can he be in the no spin zone? So,
Hit that curveball with a bowling ball.
yeah.
Cricket.
1950, Bell Telephone Laboratories announced the invention of the phototransistor in Murray Hill, New Jersey. Phototransistor. Let me look that up here really quick. Let's see here.
Transistor radio, which brought it down really small, so it's got to be transistors used in television.
Well, that's a very small picture. Can I bigger? Here we go. New phototransistor unit. Light entering the cylinder is focused by the lens on a piece of germanium that responds by generating currents. Like the transistor, the phototransistor was invented in Bell Laboratories. But what is a phototransistor? So, what a phototransistor? Phototransistor. Okay, here we go. It is an incredibly useful component for detecting light in electronic projects. You'll often find them in remote control receivers. Oh, so that it's a little eye.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what it is.
Yeah. There's a picture of the little eye right there. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now I know what a phototransistor is. We use it every day.
Yeah.
Well, you do. I don't watch TV much anymore. Anyway, what else do we got here? 1953, Albert Einstein announced a revised unified field theory. All right. 1959, yeah. 1959, the Dalai Lama fled China and was guaranteed political asylum in India. I still got to watch that movie, Kundan. It's about the Dalai Lama, and his life, from childhood, through adolescence, adulthood, everything, and it's during the time where Mao Zedong is taking over everything. Okay. And there's this one scene, and it's really powerful, where the Dalai Lama sits down with Mao Zedong, and he just looks down. You see that Mao's shoes are polished, shiny, and he's supposed to be a representative of the people.
Yeah.
How can you be a man of the people with shiny shoes? You ain't a worker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and a lot of people, they don't see that in that scene, but I caught that and everything. And then Mao goes on to talk about how religion is a disease, and like a disease, he's gonna purge the cancer and all that stuff, yada yada. Yeah. And then it goes on to how the China invaded and took over Tibet and everything, and here he is fleeing.
Yeah.
So...
how old's the movie? Is it fairly recent?
No, it's not recent. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Kundan. Let's see. 1997. Not that far back, though.
Almost 20 years. 18 years now.
Yeah. So...
It's fairly far back there.
But yeah.
If you're 15, you weren't even born.
Yeah. Let's see here. 1967, the cover picture of the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band album was photographed by Michael Cooper. Okay. 1969. Now this really pissed me off here. Loyalists, loyal to the British, bombed water and electricity installations in Northern Ireland in the hope that the attacks would be blamed on the IRA and on elements of the civil rights movement, which was demanding an end to discrimination against Catholics. So not only were they going after the Irish, but they were going after Catholics.
Oh yeah.
And this was a false flag attack. The IRA had nothing to do with this, and they were trying to put the blame on them to suppress them even more. Free Ireland! Let them go!
Oh, that was a mess for years and years and years and years.
Well, it's still going on. They're not, as crazy as they were in the 70s and whatnot, but, Ireland is, at least Northern Ireland, is still under British oppression. So, 1970, Columbia Records released jazz artist Miles Davis' influential double album "Bitches Brew." It became his highest charting title, won a Grammy, and earned him his first gold record. It's pretty cool there.
Miles Davis.
1972, North Vietnam launched a major conventional offensive against South Vietnam. Now, what a lot of people don't realize, me being included until not too long ago, and I don't remember who it was. I think it was Jacob Peets who told me this. But we had essentially won the war in Vietnam. Ho Chi Minh and the North Vietnam, NVA and all that stuff, they're like, okay, we're done. But the Viet Cong, the people, the real power, said, no, we're not done. And they kept going for a couple of years. We had it in a can. But because of the VC, the NVA got back into the fight, and then we ended up losing. So, it doesn't matter what king, what emperor, what pope, what president, what dictator, what despot, whatever your leader is, you right there watching it, you are the power. And as soon as you figure that out, oh man, then the world will change for the better, for the most part. Let's see, 1976, Israel killed 6 Palestinians protesting land confiscation. Oh, how nice. 1984, world's most valuable tip. New York police detective Robert Cunningham offered a waitress, Phyllis Penzo, half of a $1 lottery ticket. The next day, they won $6 million. That's nice. So, yeah. 1987, Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers sold for a record £22.5 million, or $39.7 million. Yeah. 1992, a man accidentally backed into Oakland A's Jose Canseco's $225,000 Lamborghini. I hope he had insurance.
You are not kidding.
Yikes. But, at the same time, what are you doing with a, almost of $250,000 vehicle just driving around there? Like, you think with that kind of money, you protect it. You wouldn't go just grocery shopping or something like that.
That's your car. That's your car. You had the money, so you bought a $250,000 car.
Yeah, that's cool. But then don't get all crazy if somebody
didn't
hits
say
it.
he got crazy. He got just back into what it's going to cost to repair.
I'm not saying he went crazy. I'm just saying like the concept. Most people with that kind of vehicle would be like, "Oh, you hit my car." It's like, well, you have it out in the wild. What do you expect? This happens.
Yeah. Well, I'd say that on my $20,000 automobile. So
yeah. 2001. Not only did we not have a space odyssey, but at 15 years, 9 months, U.S. swimmer Michael Phelps broke 200-meter butterfly world record at the U.S. World Championship trials in Austin, Texas, becoming the youngest male to set a world mark. All right.
Yeah, he won so many gold medals.
15 years old, he's breaking records. Yeah. This guy was amazing.
He went to the Olympics. I think he had like 7, 8 gold medals.
Yeah. Well, didn't they revoke everything because he tested for marijuana or whatever?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know. There was a whole stink about that for a while. So. Anyway, 5 years later, 2006, Marcos Pontes was the first Brazilian astronaut in space. All right. It's pretty cool.
Brazil.
Yeah. 2006 as well, UK Terrorism Act 2006 becomes law, and that's only in there because, I personally remember the implication, of, 9/11 and all that stuff. I was in high school when that happened. Freshman, second week in, high school life, and then, national world, changing, altering events. And, this is obviously on the heels of that, just 4 years later, so... 2012, U.S. Mega Millions lottery hit a world record lottery amount of $640 million. And it's hit the billions a couple of times now.
Yes, it has. I think they're 1.2 or 1 point something.
Yeah.
Billion is the biggest.
You got to remember, you got to talk in the microphone.
True.
So... 2012, MasterCard and Visa announced a massive breach in security with over 10 million compromised credit card numbers.
I remember that.
Yeah, no, that wasn't a breach. They released those numbers intentionally so that way they can cause a problem and, bring in security measures, So
I guess the downside is I'm so damn old that I remember when there were no credit cards.
Yeah.
It didn't exist.
What's the best credit score to have?
0.
And what's my credit score?
I don't know.
0.
Is it 0?
Well, I don't have any credit, so it's 0. So I'm ahead of the game.
Well, they can still score you.
Well,
but if you have nothing there, then you may be 0. You may be 0.
Well, I've never done anything with a credit card. I've tried to establish credit. I've tried to start, and they never let me for some reason.
Well, you have a banking account, bounce checks. Not that you bounce checks, but I'm just saying there's all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah.
But you may very well be 0.
I hope so.
No credit.
Yeah.
That comes right from, what's his name? Oh, what's the guy's name? No, it doesn't matter.
For what?
The 0 credit card. Your best score is 0.
Oh, I have no idea what
credit.
You watch.
No, if I said his name, you'd know it, but don't worry about it.
Anyway, 2013, this one confused me a little bit. North Korea declared it is at a state of war with South Korea.
Say that again?
Yeah, I know, right? North Korea declared it is at a state of war with South Korea.
Which they have been for years.
They have been since the 50s. They never stopped being at a state of war. So
why
that? Redundancy?
Yeah.
You know?
Why are you saying that?
I know, that's weird. So, Anyway, 2017.
Oh, asserted. Is that what it is? That's
North Korea. No, North. This is South Korean president. Somebody else.
Oh, okay.
Right here is what we're reading. North Korea declares it is at a state of war with South Korea.
Okay.
Well, you're never stopping at a state of war.
Yeah.
You're just in a ceasefire.
You're just reiterating what you're already doing.
Yeah. So, 2017, North Carolina repealed its controversial bathroom law that restricted transgender use. That's, that just opens up the door for all sorts of bad people to game a system to do awful things to the young people. So I don't even want to get into that. So, 2018, Palestinians began a Great March of Return, 6 weeks of protests on the Gaza Strip demanding Palestinian refugees be allowed to return to Israel. 19 Palestinians were killed, 1,416 injured on the first day. How typical. 2019, Swedish gamer and YouTuber PewDiePie, hold on a second, I think he's like, PewDiePie! That's how he used to introduce himself, I think. Overtaken by Indian Channel T-Series as YouTube channel with most subscribers. They were both at 92 million subscribers. And I remember when that was a whole hoopla.
D means he stinks.
Well,
PewDiePie.
Well,
stinking pie.
It's actually, if you say it phonetically, it's PewDiePie.
Yeah.
So.
But he's playing on words there.
PewDiePie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Pew.
Well, he did stink. He dropped the N-bomb, while streaming one time. So, yeah. 2019, Zuzana Kaputova was elected president of Slovakia, the country's first female head of state.
Oh, okay.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
2022, this one is kind of sad here. Bruce Willis announced he is stepping away from acting after a diagnosis of aphasia, which is a type of...
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's? I thought it was dementia.
Dementia, you're right.
Okay.
It is dementia.
Yeah. Well, he really is a great actor.
Yeah.
And I really wish him the healthiest, happiest life for as long as possible. He has brought so many people joy. I remember for Mom's birthday, we went and saw The Fifth Element.
Oh.
Bing, bam, boom.
Yeah.
Like the multipass.
yeah. Multipass.
Yeah, great movie.
Big bad boom.
And of course, all the diehards and everything.
Yeah. Oh, he's done so many action movies.
Yeah.
Great actor, just great. And like you say, I'm glad he got paid really well for it because he's brought a lot of joy.
Yeah. 2023, former current President Donald Trump was indicted on a Manhattan grand jury on charges over hush payments paid to Prawn star Stormy Daniels, first U.S. president to face criminal charges. That's fake news. It is fake news. Liberal propaganda. So. And last but not least, 2023 as well, key figures in artificial intelligence, including Elon Musk and Steve Wozniak. The Woz! Yeah, haven't heard about him in a while.
Yeah.
Signed an open letter warning the race to develop AI systems is out of control and asking for a suspension of at least 6 months. That did not happen.
Well, they just
and we're just marching towards our inevitable demise as a species. So, yeah. That's really why we're doing these shows now, is like... After humanity is extinct, maybe these are still out there and some alien race 1,000 years in the future, dusts this off and watches these and gets some semblance of, how things were going on back here.
Well, here's the scary part with AI, which is not the scariest part of it, but if you just think about it, AI takes over doing this date in history.
Oh, hell no, that'll never happen.
And guess what kind of history you're going to get? What AI chooses.
Yeah, history is written by the victor. Yeah. But that shall conclude the show for today. Please check the underbar in the description below for any links that you may be interested in, including but not limited to all things Omni Coalition. A lot of history has and continues to be made on a daily basis, and we can only bring you a portion, so please check our sources for more. For your dose of past events daily, we stream at 11 in the morning Pacific Time, 12 noon Mountain, 1 Central, and 2 Eastern Standard Time, respectively. If you or I, well, actually, we're not doing This Week in History anymore, so I gotta get rid of this section now. So, anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Eo Xander.
Golden Loon.
And you, VRU, thank you once again so much for watching, and until you catch us next time, whenever that is, wherever that is, don't forget to look right and left at every intersection, rate 5 thumbs, and subscribe. Toodles! Where's the button? There it is. Here. Boop.